Embark on your journey, the path you must take. Though hate may surround you, it's not your fate to forsake. Co-creating your destiny in the dance of time. The guiding light within you ignites the sublime. It is the light, the guiding light from the heart and soul. Don't lose control. Let it be the light shining bright, unlocking potential beyond belief, taking flight. In the depths of your being, the truth resides. Embrace your power, let your spirit rise. With every step forward, you transcend the expanded conscious community we commend. Through trials and triumphs, your soul evolves in the symphony of life, where every note resolves. Listen to the whispers of your inner voice. In unity and love, let your heart rejoice. It is the light, the guiding light from the heart and soul. Don't lose control. Let it be the light shining bright, unlocking potential beyond belief, taking flight. It is the light, the guiding light from the heart and soul. Don't lose control. Let it be the light shining bright, unlocking potential beyond belief, taking flight. As we gather together in this sacred space, embracing transformation with grace. Life coach Malachi leads the way in unlocking potential day by day. One big space. Embracing transformation with grace. Life coach Malachi leads the way, unlocking potential day by day.
Woo! What's up, y'all? Gotta be liking and sharing and getting the game going. It's gonna be great. I promise you. Get it going. We have a wonderful show. It's gonna bless your soul. Right after this. Hey, man, it's so good. Once again, we're here with this Thursday live. Make sure you guys are liking and sharing 100%. Coach Deidre is traveling right now. She should be tapping in soon. I'm pretty sure she's probably messing with her laptop. Of course, she went from DC to New York. She's doing that traveling a lot. But anyways, I'm here. I had to figure it out all on my own. Deidre. Anyways, what's up? Who's in the room? You know, there is a song that I do want to play. I'm about to play it. I'm gonna put it on my. I don't even know if it's on here on this in this StreamYard, but I'm gonna look for it real quick because I'm about to play it. Put it on my Instagram because I believe it's appropriate. Because of the words, right? And it's a different version. I'm gonna play that. But anyways, I need to see who is in the room and who's commenting because I know my people's here. Y'all need to be liking and sharing. I like to get started at least with 20. Let's see. Brother Christopher, we can always depend on you. Flint, Michigan representing. Tuesdays, 4:00. It goes live on the radio. Flint, Michigan. You could go ahead and put that stream in the chat if you want to, Chris. Put it in there. Yes, yes. Oh, Miss Greta Cobb Jenkins. I know who you are. We love you. Miss Greta was live with us this past weekend. I am talking to her. She is 100% on board, partnering with Expanded Consciousness. Lynn, you mean so much. Thank you so much. You always show up. You're always here. Major contributor. Miss Mother Gwen, you're doing so well with managing everything I know that you are managing. I appreciate you, Mother Gwen. And Dee says she's going to be at your brother's services this weekend. Thank you, Creasy. Creasy's in the room. Seth is in the room. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, Shara's in the room. I think you're going to like this, Oshara. We are going to be, it's 9:00 in Tulsa. We could schedule something else because I know you want to be here for something that's a 3-hour drive. But we're going to have some things, and I'm going to tie Tae Sahn down and make him do stuff with me. So this is my brother. He'll do it. What's up, Tia? Yes, yes. Thank you, Tia. Awake in Tulsa, holding it down. And whatever else I need for you to hold it down, I appreciate you. And Mother White, it was good seeing Mother White at All Souls that we went to have a time there with Mother White. And Mother White, we're going to be, it's going to be 9:00. We're going to be doing something with Brother Tae Sahn. Oh, do we need to have an intro? We need to have an intro. Ooh, Deidre's in the room. What's up, D? Is your volume, is your microphone working?
Hi, everybody. Yes, I'm just somewhere. Yeah. Here I am. Hi.
We know.
Good evening, family. How are y'all doing?
I just was talking, different people that are in the room. I just stopped with Mother White. And I think that's pretty much.
Oh, yeah, I'll be rocking everything backstage. It's good to see everybody tonight. Oh, I realized I didn't even got my glasses on. Y'all see me without my glasses? Can y'all see me?
Can you see me?
Okay. I love you. I see you. See me.
Alyssa? You see that, Alyssa, over there?
Say that again?
No, that right there. Okay. It's okay. We don't. It's been a while since you caught the live. We don't shame you. We just only do it live in public. Where you been? Thank you so much. I'm glad anytime you can catch us live, it's so fun because you get to say hi to your friends and your peoples. Thank you, Beverly. Yes, yes. I appreciate you. Look, everybody's saying they're saying they love to see you, D. Your mic went out.
It's good to see old faces and new faces. It's really good. Good to see everybody.
Well, I'm gonna get to it, but what I want to do, and if you need to pop on to, you can, but what I want to do 100% is, and I won't forget about you, Miss Phyllis. You always be rocking it. I know there's gonna be some people that is coming into the room. I know there's a lot of energy out there in the room. What you listening to is part of Beyond Belief. I didn't know Beyond Belief was going to be so important, really, honestly. I just was in flow and just writing, finding AI and just loving it. That I could take the words that I'm feeling and run it through, I'm a musician, and run it through software, if you will, and be able to do what I've been able to do. And so I got something that I was going to play. I'm going to put it on my Instagram, but I want you to listen to something because I know the energy's high with the various situations that we are experiencing currently in America. And I say that specifically because we have been experiencing, things have been happening throughout the world pretty intensely, especially over the last year. Over the last 5 years has been pretty intense, but really, over the last year, we've been really intense. And so there's something that I would like to play. I want you guys to hear. It is actually on the album Beyond Belief, but I just want you to hear this. I want to be able to set the kind of the atmosphere and the space for us to be able to connect to each other, for us to be able to connect to ourselves, for us to learn how to just be able to block things out. Because here's the thing is, I just put a post up and it was talking about doom scrolling essentially. And I know that the post should transcend this moment and this time. There's so many different posts going out about the latest situation or situations that sometimes we can not understand. We can be overwhelmed with everything that is constantly moving, especially with the news, with social media, and we can't find any level of peace. Oh, okay. I just got a message from my thing that was a little that was too big in terms of the. Let's see if that's it. Oh man, things don't always go as planned. Anyways, it was the song Imagine If We Loved One Another, smiling like the sun in the summer. You always hear that the world needs love, but sometimes it's hard when we don't know what love is ourselves. We don't know how to love ourselves, and we're trying to learn to love. Regardless of what, I know that everyone's in their space. We've been doing this for a while. Thursdays at 8:30, 9:30 Eastern. And we're going to be in this space and we're going to box ourselves in this moment and in this time. And we're going to breathe and we're going to push ourselves outside of space and time as much as we can. we're going to be able to embody what we're about to witness and what we're about to experience. Okay? Can y'all do that with me? Can we raise the vibration? What are we saying in the comments? Do we think we can do that? Let's see. I was looking here. There we go. Whew. I know it may be difficult or hard to realize and shake the world and shake things, but I'm here to tell you, everything that's out there is going to be out there. We're going to move to the next thing. What is in here is going to forever need to be balanced. And no matter what we are about to face in the next now, let's take this moment right now to prepare our hearts for something, an energy exchange. Let's get some words in the comments. Let's get some words, some positive words in the comments. Whatever you put, and Deidre, let's post those words before I bring my wonderful dear brother Tae Sahn up. Yes. Absolutely, we join you in raising the vibration. Yes, Miss Cobb. You'll shower us this peace, self-preservation. Thank you, Chrissy. Miss Gwen, Mother Gwen says strength. Yes. Peace and hope. Thank you. Spiritual high self, knowing. Come on, y'all. Come on. Yes. The dear brother that I have this evening, I met some time ago when we were doing a little bit of work related to Black Wall Street. Yet just another moment of loving and seeking justice and helping those in various situations. He's doing that today. But I'll let him speak for himself. And yeah, we can enjoy it. And I'd like to bring him up, brother, from another mother, Tae Sahn.
Malachi, so good to see you.
Thank you, man, thank you for just this moment and this time. And I think it's impeccable timing, right? We've had situations, right? That's been going on.
Yeah.
So I think this is a good vibration and good essence and spirit that we can come together and just have a conversation, bro.
Absolutely. I am so happy to be on the show with you. And I'm happy to just have an opportunity to share about my spiritual tradition and journey that I think sometimes feels elusive and perplexing to a lot of people. So
I think you will be well embraced in this area, in this space. All the people majority of the people that tap in, tune in.
Thank you, Steve.
Yes. Most people that tap in, tune in have had some level or some experience, and have embraced various spiritual traditions. And some of them are Miss Dolores' Buddhist, who just is on the screen out of Detroit.
Nice.
And who else? Let's see. There may be some more that are in there, but hey, Miss Dolores. To begin, I would just like to just kind of journey back, if you like, just journey back to who you were and what, as we've all possibly had some spiritual frustrations and raised up various ways. Majority of my audience probably have dabbled a little bit or deeply in Christianity, Pentecostalism to evangelicalism and Mormonism and all sorts of different spaces in that realm. And so what has your journey been like in terms of prior to this, what was it? How was you raised? Type of
Yeah, there's probably three sections to this. There's my formative years and being raised in Christianity and taking that into my adulthood. There's the piece in the middle where I was deconstructing the spirituality of my youth and sort of really starting my journey on self-discovery. And then there's this light bulb moment, and I just went Zen, and so I grew up non-denominational Christian, went to a large church in Broken Arrow. I was, a tongue talking, the organ got my toes tapping, charismatic Christian. And I was so with my whole heart. And there's something about a community where, we deconstruct Christianity, because I think for some people, the way it's taught, the way it's even institutionalized, doesn't necessarily match just sort of being a human in a human body with human feelings and reactions. For me, it was difficult because I didn't really have a great mechanism for self-validation. And, shadow work and reparenting with therapy, we came and found that, Mike just didn't know how to self-validate, and it made me a terrible adult. And so kind of through that journey and those growing pains, that doesn't feel good. I need to change something. And in that sort of searching, I went agnostic and then ultimately atheist. There was something missing for me, I think, in Christianity. And that's not to say that Christianity is not for people. I think it is. I think that, as we say in Buddhism, the Dharma gates are countless. And so I don't poo-poo other faiths at all. I just know that for me and in my development, my journey started there. I didn't really have a great developmental experience in my formative years just because of the way that it was taught.
Let's stop right there for a moment, because all of us, listen, I'm telling you, most people here and we're all across the country have had those moments, right? And that's why we're here. I mean, that's a big reason why we're here, honestly, a big chunk of it. And it's just part of it to have the conversation. Part of it is how to deconstruct. How is it that, and so what was part of your deconstructing process in terms of like, when you said it was kind of like this timeout, where was where's that timeout moment where like, wait, is it, colonization, or it's like, wait, why are we doing this? Or why am I doing this? Did you ever have that moment?
Yeah, there's a stark moment in my memory, and this is in my 20s, early mid 20s. I remember going back to the church that I grew up in, some kind of an event, something I was going back for, because I wasn't really attending there. I was attending another like-minded church in Tulsa. And at the service, there was a sort of quintessential part of the liturgy, really, is they would ask anyone who needs healing to come to the front and form a prayer line. And then the pastoral staff would all kind of come together and pray for each one. And there was the, being slain in the spirit and falling out, and, the ushers catching, and the little linen cloths for the, keeping everybody honest. And I was transfixed on these two young boys that were ways down from where the action was actively happening. And they were kind of looking at each other, and you could tell they were a little nervous. And at first, I was like, that's adorable. They've gone down and they're excited about it. And then, of course, the team comes down and they laid hands on them and they fell back. And as the pastoral team went on further down, it was a very long line. I was still just fixed on these boys, and they kind of laying there, ostensibly slain in the spirit. And then there's this, hey, we did it. And at first I thought that was cute, but then I had this sinking feeling in me when I realized that that was me at their age, probably 12, not getting it. And I'm not here saying that practice is wrong, or that there's not spiritual gain for the people who are minded in that way and follow that tradition. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, when I was 12, I was pretending, and I was rewarded in that community for what seemed like realistic enough to the adults. Hey, he's got the Holy Ghost. No, I was pretending. And that's what struck me. It's, what are we teaching? What is it about? Or a good friend of mine who's also a Korean Zen Bodhisattva, she asks the question, in service of what? And it really grips me about that part. So that was the first time when, I would call it satori, which is a Japanese term we use in Buddhism. That's sort of like a momentary moment of enlightenment, like a flash of lightning kind of enlightenment, an aha moment, but on a very deep level. That was it for me.
Yeah, I can remember. Sometimes we did it for approval, and sometimes we would do it just to get people to leave me alone. Like, because I grew up Catholic, Church of God in Christ, so it was charismatic to me. A lot of that, it's like people were doing it, but that really starts spawning up. Because it was almost like a combination of evangelical and Pentecostalism. Because I ended up going to Oral Roberts, but I remember being 11, and it was just. But I really did feel something. Like I was just there, and the music was going, and I was just like, just sitting there and transfixed. And it was like, I just started moving, and that's what first time I ever danced, and my socks came off. And remember we were talking about socks, and
Pants your socks up.
yeah, my I think I had holes in them. I didn't really care, I guess.
If you grew up like me, you did.
That was the only time I ever danced, though. It was real. It was transfixed, and it was, it makes me think about D is African spirituality. So, it was the ring shout was really real at that moment because it was just like moving. And but at the same time, I can really feel you on, it's like you were acting, but it was like, that's what they wanted to get some action out of you. So as a kid, you just like, okay, well,
yeah,
let me do this. But it's neat that you had an epiphany though, where you're just like, wait, is this real? Or what am I doing?
Right. And
that was 12?
No, I was in my 20s.
Oh, your 20s by that time.
But to kind of see myself in that position, I think back to and reparented that 12-year-old boy that was just looking for external validation. But that was my experience. Oh, Miss Dolores, so very nice. So nice to see you. Wow. We'll have to chant the Kwanseum Bosal together sometime soon.
So it moves on, from that realization, and then throughout your life, what began to take place in you?
I think that my relationship with spirituality was one based in shame. And that, sort of suffering that I was experiencing for, so much of my life, and really leaning in. I was in the ministry, in a small way.
Really?
I wasn't a pastor. Yeah, I participated in music ministry for, children's church because I love kids and they're so wonderful and their minds are so curious. And we had a wonderful message for them. And I stand by that. I'm not saying, I take back everything I said, children. No, we were talking about love and compassion, and I'm still about that. But it was I didn't want to feel that anymore. I didn't want to feel shamed of just being who I am. Just being. I ain't trying to talk about, I'm trying to become all these other things. Just me. Just the human in front of you. And that's why the relationship that I had with spirituality prior to that was one that's based on shame, because I felt ashamed that I would get sick or that I would succumb to, the devil and have anger and not be able to push that anger away. And, because anytime those kinds of feelings arose, our protocol was resist the devil and he will flee. So we would just repeat the name of Jesus until we thought of something else, I guess.
Jesus.
And so it was just, it was very algorithmic in a way that didn't really address the particular kind of humanity that I had. Now, my siblings, they adapted very well with the teachings that they got. And they both are, very devout Christians today. And I love that for them. I encourage people to lean into their spiritual tradition, that's feeding them. I just want all spiritual traditions, whatever it is that someone's going for, to be ones that that allow spirituality in such a way that a person feels free to be themselves in acceptance. And so that's what I promote. That's what Zen Buddhism promotes. And when I found Zen Buddhism, the it was the oceans of peace and acceptance and healing and just joy. And I had just never experienced anything like that before. And so I dug in and I dug deeper. And I mean,
what was that first experience? So here it is. You've been through all this and a lot of anger and dealing with life and if you're dealing with shame and guilt, you're dealing with relationships and you're trying to find yourself and you're feeling not accepted by God, not accepting yourself, not loving yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And there had to be this moment whenever that kind of taken place, and that shame and that guilt was like, was that, did you read a passage? How did that take place?
I think by the time I found Buddhism, I had already dealt with the shame part, and that's, just through therapy and, in my time as an agnostic and an atheist, and just going to good old fashioned therapy. My therapist, Catherine, gosh, I miss her so much. She's retired, but she was this Jewish grandma, and I mean, she was just this an absolute joy, and she could cut right through all of my delusions about myself with the softest and gentlest but potent insights. And so, anyway, I love Catherine, but it was through that I kind of got rid of the shame part and just being able to accept that I didn't have to subscribe to that system of morality where I had to feel shame for ostensibly not pleasing God. And then it was in dealing with anger, actually. And again, back to the therapist, we're talking about conflict anger. And, that was just a part of my life that I dealt with. Conflict triggered me. And I didn't really have a great mechanism to keep that anger from taking the wheel. And so I, started doing therapy. I downloaded the Calm app, man. I'm doing guided meditations, and I hear a quote at the end of one of the meditations by one of my favorite, voices on the app. And, I went and looked up the quote. I'm like, this is a quote by some dude named Pema Chodron, and I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, and then I went and found out that Pema Chodron's a woman. She's an abbess, Zen master through the Shambhala lineage. And I'm like, okay, so that was Buddhist wisdom, and that made me dig deeper and dig deeper. So it was a trickle effect. The first aha moment was after reading my first Buddhist book, which was written by a Zen master, Thich Nhat Hanh, called Be Free Where You Are. Let me just say, my whole life was changed. My whole life was changed just reading the first chapter of that book. I had to put it down, meditate on that for a good long while before I didn't pick it back up for another 4 months. And it's a really small book. It's a pocket book. Yeah, that was the moment. It was about realizing that all the conditions that I needed to be happy were already present. And it pointed me to realizing that my suffering comes from my mind and not from other people or situations. That, the way that we interpret and process is intrinsically in the mind. We talk about the past and the future, but none of us have actually been able to go there from here. Where is it? Just up here. And so just kind of realizing these insights just made me start looking at myself differently, made me start looking at the world differently, with a lot more curiosity than I did before, looking for the literal, looking for the experience of a thing rather than the concept of a thing. And that just, when you stay curious, man, it's powerful, which is why I love the idea of this community and what I've seen from this community so far. It's the curiosity, because that, you got to have that to find liberation in my mind.
I think curiosity is what it's the curiosity of not knowing but wanting to know. Meta, beyond.
And then taking that wanting to know and allowing it to dissolve into just being prepared to observe what is. You know, because wanting, in my tradition, we think about that as grasping, as another way we characterize that. It's built on desire, expectation, dissatisfaction, that kind of stuff. So Zen is very much about the present moment. It's about listening, and not just with your ears, with every cell in your body. And when you do that, want sort of disappears into just being. And from that emerges a lot of things. That stillness, compassion, what's the right next thing to do, in service of what, observing my feelings, being conscious of others, all that stuff. In our practice, it emerges there and elsewhere, but there.
So if a person doesn't understand Zen, they may have an idea. We've heard it in general terms. There's software that may name that. There's various ways you may hear it, but from a person such as yourself, and it could be from the traditional sense, in the sense of what you're supposed to say, but then in the sense of Tae Sahn, what is Zen?
It's an experience-based practice that allows us to dissolve the illusions that cause suffering, and also transform that suffering into compassion. The Buddha said, I go back and take refuge in the island of myself. It was a message that it was in his last sermon, which I love about Buddhism, is it's also very well documented. But this is a message about returning to take refuge in myself. But there's some inferences there. Refuge from what? Well, from something without myself. I come back and take refuge in the island of myself. Kind of like a turtle. The safest place for that turtle is arms and head sucked into that shell. But he can't stay there. That's not realistic. Neither can we, because there are things we need. Just like a turtle, we need to eat. We need to find a partner. You know, there's the biological imperative to, have kids and procreate if that's the what you feel in your heart for your life. But you got to go out and you got to interact. And the thing is, there's suffering all around. It rises. Greed, hate, ignorance, it rises endlessly. And so if you're going to go out there and do stuff, there's suffering to be experienced. But I go back and take refuge in the island of myself for that healing. And so Zen is about, in practice, it is about operating consciously in conventional truth so we can navigate names, roles, titles, relationship, association, labels. I think I already said that. But coming from a place of understanding an ultimate truth, which is that all of these things are constructs, and that in their literal nature, it's not that things, you talk about non-duality. It's not non-duality doesn't mean that everything's the same. It's more about that everything's connected. And so these are the kinds of insights that we understand and can sort of walk in that truth while also interacting in a realistic sense of conventional thought and truth, or what we call ordinary mind, versus like the pristine mind. It's not good to only espouse one. There's a balance to be struck.
There's a balance to be struck.
Oh, Prajna Paramita, she's not wrong. She's not wrong. So I'll just explain. So the Prajna Paramita is most often, you'll hear this brought up in the Heart Sutra, which is a part of the opening liturgy for a lot of Buddhist temples and services. But it mentions the Prajna Paramita, which is ultimate wisdom, is what it means. It's the mantra that is said to relieve all suffering and distress, and it really has to do with emptying oneself. It has to do with an ego death to what you see and hear and taste and smell and touch. And maintaining a curiosity beyond what seems to be obvious, but understanding that every object that you can lay your mind toward is an object of your mind. And that's where things can get tough to follow.
Tough to follow.
But it's really not. It just seems that way.
When people see or hear this, and a lot of times since and it's proven, there's documentation in a book that says we're one of the most religious illiterate countries, meaning that we don't understand or investigate, negotiate, reason. And that's the reason why we see so much turmoil and hate, and in a lot of religion has been built on or used or manipulated, used to manipulate quite a few, just based on the differences or indifferences of each other. So outside of a person being Zen Buddhist, how is it that, what are some things, and how is it that a person can use some of these? Because I know it's more of a belief. I mean, it's more of a way of being, in a place that you can come to, right? As they say, Zen, a place to come to.
Absolutely.
Right. And finding that inside their heart, because this is big on meditation, right? And that's the self inside the self, being with self.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I know that we can really use this. We can really use this.
Yeah. So, I mean, even without getting into understanding what is spiritual to Buddhists about Buddhism, even without getting into that, there's many practices in Buddhism that anyone can follow without having to become a Buddhist or without, and I think the clear example here is meditation. Buddhist meditation practices. So Buddhism is, about 2,600 years old, and the meditation practices in Buddhism are, being proven over and over again scientifically to align with things that we're just now discovering about, meditation in the last couple decades. And so breathing techniques, right? The breath is always a part of Buddhist meditation.
What is the breath in Buddha? If you were a student and asking that of a Zen master, you'd probably get hit with a stick, because the lesson there, not like to be mean, but to actually, that's the answer actually. It's about direct experience. You felt that on your shoulder because the conditions were present for that to take place. So the breath is the action of connecting, or using the breath in Buddhist meditation is the action of connecting mind and body. And then as you go deeper, realizing that mind and body are not different. So breathing practices, I'm teaching Sunday at the temple, sort of the third installment of a 4-part series on the Anapanasati Sutta, which is basically translates to full awareness of breathing. And it's taught in 4 octets that the Buddha taught. So the first 4 have to do with body. So you start with breathing, and then you shift your focus to the body. And then the second quartet is about feelings. And you explore those with curiosity and acceptance without trying to change it, just observing and going deeper in your observation. Because you're looking not for answers, but insight, if that makes sense. And then the third octet focuses on the mind, observing the mind in the mind. And then the 4th octet is about objects of mind. And, that's where really things can start to dissolve into just realizing the oneness of everything. And this is that stillness. You don't have to bow to anyone. In fact, the Buddha is not a god. He was a prince. He shared his wisdom with us, and I'm thankful for that. But that dude is dead. It's well documented. But homage to the Buddha, man. He gave us such a jewel of wisdom, which is his teaching. What's a good book?
Thinking that you might ask that question. Our Pristine Mind by Orgen Choan is a book that I recommend. I don't know if you can see that on the camera. It's been one of my favorite books. It's a practical guide to unconditional happiness, because that's really what Buddhism is about. What the meditation practices teach me that I bring off of my meditation mat into the way that I interact in life, which is all completely explained in that book by Thich Nhat Hanh that I mentioned earlier. Be Free Where You Are. Highly recommend that book. You take the practice so it's you go from I meditate once a day or I meditate once a week or whenever to life as a meditation, because really all meditation is having a single focused mind. And the way Buddhist meditation is taught, some people, I think it's a myth, people say, oh, my mind is too monkey brain, too much noise to meditate, I can't get that stillness. We teach, for instance, we'll stop focusing on the content and focus on the context. We, instead of observing thoughts, we observe the nature of how thoughts rise and fall. We're not trying to not have thoughts. Not really. We're just present with what is. And if I'm having thoughts and I can't seem to focus on the thing that I wanted, that I intended, that I brought to this present moment, to find that that's not what the conditions were there for, right? That we're back to kind of wanting and disappointment. Instead of that, just being present with what is. So what if you got monkey brain? So what? That's what we call it in Buddhism. That's the Tibetans and the Koreans and the Japanese all call it that. So what? Did you notice the meditation then? Because you noticed what was actually happening in the present. And I wanted to sit and meditate about my feelings about what so-and-so said. Oh, that's not what happened? Zen would say just this, which is a way of saying, like, so be it. The present moment did what it do. So we have a lot of guidance around how to interact and understand and explore the nature of mind, and that pulls you out of having to be, riding shotgun with your thoughts and feelings. Does Buddhism make me, for instance, not get angry? No, no. But the difference is, instead of being an angry person, I'm a person who is aware that he's angry. And so it hits different. I'm a person who I've looked very closely at my anger and I've explored it with curiosity, and I haven't tried to change it. I just took myself out of the passenger seat and realized that this is not something to push away. It's something to understand its nature. And as I explore that, I come to a place of compassion for myself. And if I can have compassion for myself, and I know that even though you and I are not exactly the same, I also know that we are connected through this experience of humanity. And if I can show myself compassion for the root and nature of my anger, then I better understand when you're angry. And I see myself in you. And I can have compassion for you. So it's a very put your own mask on first type policy in Zen.
Sounds like we're going into some more compassion. How does compassion such overtakes a person?
So my observation, and I can speak for myself, and I can say, I've heard numerous other practitioners say the same thing, Zen masters abroad. When I get to that place of stillness and I'm just staying open to what the present moment has for me, maybe I'm focusing on just breathing, or I'm focusing on a body scan, I'll notice things. And that's what having a single focused mind is about. Like you're noticing. And as that happens and I get into that space where thoughts stop and I'm just being, compassion naturally and organically arises. The meditation practice that I'm teaching this series on right now addresses that directly in the second series, the second installment. We talk about feelings, but we intentionally, in this meditation practice, we go after those feelings. We invite them, we greet them, and we sit with them. And we understand them. Early in the podcast, somebody said, I saw someone say on the YouTube feed, feel your feelings during that moment where intentions were being set. And, I was off camera, but I'm over here, yes, girl, or guy, or they, whoever it was. Mad respect to that person, because I'm like, yeah, they get it. Feel your feelings. We got to sit with them, and that's a part of the practice.
Well, there's so much suffering, and we've always had some degree of suffering, and in today's climate, I just realize and understand that most people don't understand that it's only been 60 years from the change of civil rights. We're not really that far away when you think about the totality of time. And technology and all this stuff around us makes us feel, and then the progress that we've had over the years to see the first times of this and the first times of that, especially with Blackness. But I think the earth, the land still cries out. Black Wall Street still cries out. Osage County, the land still cries out. The suffering that was here, it seems as though we want to do our best to remember it, but I believe and understand that there's a deep compassion that we all need, that it makes it real difficult as we experience life, and as it seemingly we fight for resources, we fight for position, we fight for things, stuff. One of the things that we know about when you think about Zen, and then you think about people that go as far as, I guess you would say, monks, and how people can leave the stuff, let the stuff go. And I think it's a process that we all need to experience, because it's like, what beauty it is for us to have this opportunity. Like, we take the small opportunities we have and we make these things that we don't have, and the things that we still feel the suffering from. And it's kind of hard just to be and learn to be. And I think more now than ever, with our ability to not just get news, but how news and things are forced upon us, and we're forced to have opinions, and we're forced to go into spaces. And there's so much out there. And as an energy worker, and as a person that deals with energy, especially as you get into your meditation, it starts to get overwhelming. And it's just like, no, I'm not doing that. You're not sucking me in. And I think more now than ever, this is very important of what you got to say. And some of these things you got to say for us when we are in our cars alone, and when we go to bed at night, and when we get ready to go to work. And how many times are we alone? How many times are we alone? And what do we do in that process, in that thinking process? And everyone around us is just is projecting.
Mhm.
And now more than ever, what you have to say about these things, I think, is something that we can all use. And what is it that you can what is it in practice that, because you had that anger, right? That
Mhm.
was real with you.
For real, yeah.
And
It
now
still
it's
is. It's just my relationship with it changed.
your relationship with your anger changed. So now you have a relationship and understanding that goes back to the Carl Jung. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life. You'll call it fate,
It's
right?
yes. And in a Zen perspective, in a Buddhist perspective, the thing that changed was I stopped looking at it like something that I related to in so much as it and me as kind of being separate. So in essence, the relationship changed and that it dissolved because I began to realize that this is a natural part of the experience of being human. And I can observe my mind in the mind because of the practices that I've picked up through Buddhist teachings. Observing the mind in the mind, I see thoughts and feelings rise and fall as they do, like clouds passing through an open, clear sky. Can I interact with them? Oh, yeah. Watch me work, right? Especially when I'm off my game. But I don't have to be them. Um, and I'm emphasizing the word be because I'm coming back to the present moment, man. Like, I, when I'm observing something, the insight there is there actually is no difference between the observer and the object that and the object the observer is observing. In fact, there is no observer. There is only the observing. When I'm just being, I am. I'm just being. It's the full experience of the present moment and just being with that. And as the conditions change, it presents a myriad of things. And what I do with those things depends on how I set my intentions and my practice. And the things that I've practiced, they get easier over time. Yeah, it's been, the practice is nourishing.
The practices, I like that. So that's leading me, because if you have a person, I know people, and you talk about the relationship with the anger. It's almost the relationship with doubt, or the relationship with being able to recognize overwhelm, or being able to recognize stuck. What is
Mhm.
stuck, right? Are those similar?
I mean, so in a sense, yes. There's definitely the power in naming the thing. Um, you know, Understanding something, the nature of a thing down to its roots, um, removes its power. Whatever is fueling dissatisfying feeling that you have, whatever's fueling, your anger or your resentment, or, when you really examine those things down to their root, understanding, okay, why does that make me upset? Because so-and-so did that. Well, why when they do that, does it make you upset? Well, because I expected them not to. They betrayed me. I didn't see that coming. I'm caught off guard. Okay, well, why were you expecting that? Well, because, why did it hurt you that, and just, I ask myself these questions, and I come at it from these different angles because I'm trying to understand what's at the root of it. But when I find that thing, and a lot of times for me, it's, oh, that was me again, clinging on to some attachment. It's often the thing that I find. But when you see that, not only does that feeling lose its power over you, and you move from the passenger seat over to the driver's seat, because now you know what you need to heal, right? We've got the root. Now we understand it. We're intimate with it. You can't get intimate without surrendering ego and really getting honest with yourself about the reality of the present moment.
Surrender. You hit a word. Surrender. Talking about surrender versus control, trust versus fear. Like surrender, because that word surrender also goes in. It's like it makes me think also when you talk about compassion.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And it's necessary. I mean, I think in the same way that curiosity is necessary, for self-discovery and liberation, it's necessary for compassion too. Something my Zen master Daegak said in a book that he wrote called Upright with Poise and Grace, which, by the way, is another fantastic book. He writes on the topic of listening, and he says that in order to fully listen, one must die to what is heard. There is no intimacy without a willingness to being fully changed by the encounter. And that struck me, the intimacy. What do you mean there's no intimacy? He's talking about listening to ourselves, listening to others. And maybe I don't want to listen fully to everyone. And so maybe I don't want, but over time, as my compassion grows, I actually do be doing that. Listening to everyone, even people that I wouldn't have listened to before, but I'm listening differently because the relationship dissolved between what they're saying and my identity. I'm listening differently these days because I'm more adapted to not being in the passenger seat emotionally and affected by the things that I see and smell and taste and touch and hear and think. And so that's when I say, Thich Nhat Hanh's book on Be Free Where You Are, that's what I mean. There's so much freedom in realizing that the only thing that you can affect is the present moment, and any future that you can imagine can only be enriched by an enriching now. The present moment begets this future you're imagining. And so if you spend the present moment just thinking about the future, then that's a wasted moment. I'm not saying we don't plan. I'm saying set aside the time to plan, and in that moment, let that be the present moment. That's the intention for planning. That's what we're doing. That's what this present moment activity is. But then just being careful not to let my present moments be consumed by these illusions about a future that is frankly a superposition. I have no idea what the future holds. That's why there's the word surprise in English, because you don't know.
Is there, in metaphysics, we look at the energy in which the surprise brings, right? So in other words, the energy of one negative, it's like one negative thought would need 5 positive to counter. And not being always understanding this now, but then bringing in a practice for this now moment, right? To be able to check that moment. Okay, this moment, I'm checking this moment.
What do you mean when you say check?
Stillness,
Mm.
you know, as the
Mhm.
mind is running and running and running,
Mm-hmm.
as within,
Mm-hmm.
right? As without, as above, so below.
Just being with,
Being with.
be, or just being. We
Yeah.
we can even drop the with.
Yes, just being. But if we want to shift, bring in a moment to say, I'm stopping at this moment to shift this thought intentionally.
Mm.
It's running, running, running. Hold, stop. Shifting. They say that when you smile, even though you can smile and the brain doesn't know, can like not know the difference between the smile being actually authentic or real,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or if it's something that is forced. So sometimes forcing that smile, in other words, can begin to bring a shift, right? Especially when you're in this negative loop and a negative thought.
Yeah.
I'm going to take this moment. I'm going to stop. I'm going to shift. What's amazing is they figured out with the cell phone how to mess with our behaviors through the acts of chemical processes and dopamine and serotonin. And so as it's feeding us and feeding us and feeding us, it's kind of like being able to bring this moment in and shifting and saying, I got to stop. And for me, that's what meditation is like. Meditation can bring you into more of a presence of the moment. Like if you have that practice going, meditating, and have that practice, all of a sudden, after let's say a good day, let alone a week, but a good day, all of a sudden you're tapped in and tuned in a little bit. Your energy is a little high where you'd be like, wait a minute, what are you doing? Don't allow. Today I got on a phone call, normal business call. The person is an ultra-right conservative. And so of course they bring up the situation. And I explained myself just a little bit in a very logical manner. But then I have this moment that clicked with me. And it's like, if you are in cognitive bias, not dissonance, but if you have that going on, people now in their minds can have these almost just pure psychology where, how do I respond? How do I react? What do I do? And through meditation, I'm able to feel myself and I'm able to feel my energy and I'm able to feel the fact that, and it's almost like an anger.
Yeah.
But I can feel the chemicals actually in my body, feeling it, getting rushed and pushed up. And I'm like, I feel justified in it.
Yeah.
I feel that I may be correct or right.
Mm-hmm.
But I get to ask myself, is this what I want? Do I want this right now in this moment? My higher self says, no, I don't. And then the ancestors and things in me rise up, and the spirit of things like Black Rostry says, huh. It rises up and says, this has been experienced before. And how do people react? How do people respond when they say, what's going on here? What's going on here? And all of a sudden, we are so full, justified or not, we're full of our emotions. We're full of everything that's happening at that moment. And it even makes us hard for us to make decisions. It makes us hard for us to feel direction. It makes us hard for us.
No, absolutely.
Civil unrest more than it is the civil war is civil unrest, or the dis-easement of our minds, chaos. As they say, the author of confusion.
I think it's in our nature to have this kind of experience, and there's not anything that's all good or all bad. And especially when we talk about ourselves, our humanity, there's a good reason why you have hormones that can rush in and change your behavior immediately. When you see the silhouette of a grizzly bear behind a tree line, if you're hiking in the Beartooth Mountains up in the northwest of the United States, you should probably take that pretty seriously, because there's a lot of grizzly bears there, and you need to have that shock moment. You need your senses heightened. You need your adrenaline. You need those things. Those are survival mechanisms that our bodies are built with. And so what if it's just some guy in a bear suit? we may find out later. Did I want to feel that way? No, but I'm thankful that my body does that. The difference in the way I look at that now and the way I would have before is I realize that those things too are mind. That response is generated by mind and body, and it's in my nature to do that. But I can actually observe the nature of it from a contextual standpoint instead of a content standpoint. And the more I practice that, the more in the driver's seat I remain. I'll still feel those things. It's not like I don't sense that they're coming, but again, my relationship with it changes, and that the relationship dissolves, and it's no longer has the same, because I understand the root of it, it loses its power.
Practice, though. From the practice, a Navy SEAL has practiced something so intensely, so much, they're going to look at situations and be able to say, instead of the fight, flight, or freeze, we're going to have those same emotions, but there's something about the practice that gives me the ability to articulate some of the movements. I used to be in the martial arts. In the body, you will be able to articulate the movements that naturally will come from the practice, but also from the stillness of the mind. Because the worst thing that would happen in a moment, a person is fearing their life. Mm-hmm. But ultimately, once you surpass that, and my thing is, the system has a way, and when I say system, the programming of the mind, the programming of minds is one of the greatest, craziest technologies that we can understand from the levels of consciousness as people play or understand consciousness and psychology. Is like driving ideas and ideologies and humans, and we've been doing this for centuries. For centuries, we've been doing this, and the way we're discussing is how people can rise up to their higher self through practices, through understanding, through relationship, through connecting to self, to finding Zen. I go Google it. You know what I mean? Like, and what is this?
Yeah.
I had this conversation right? And I look that people can rise up in one of the things that I understand and I know for a fact is that we have had various spaces we've been spiritually as human beings, and especially those in this country, as this country is kind of a new formation in the essence or totality of time. And yet I still believe that through the experimentation of civilization and colonization and development of a society, we still have some essence of spirit that we have not truly fully tapped into, maybe in this era in time. Maybe there were other eras in time that we had the response or the senses from the human essence required us to be that. If I've been in nature for this long and it requires us, and I can even take this back a couple hundred years ago where you would be able to, your body can sense weather. Since then, we've created devices that can make us lazy within our intuition for weather.
Mm-hmm.
It's great because that person that was really good at weather, right? Versus the person that still can sense weather, but not know weather a couple of hundred years ago. Now we have devices and things that can make us intuitively lazy.
I mean, I wonder, it's just amusing, I guess, but, it would stand to reason to me that neural pathways would change. And,
Yes.
If I can change my neural pathways by meditating, or you can change your neural pathways by practicing a martial arts move that you later basically have committed to muscle memory, that's a neural pathway change. I would venture to guess that our bodies are still sensing it.
Yes.
We lost our mindfulness of that because the neural pathways are no longer just sort of like up front and center. Maybe they've sort of become a little more recessive than they used to be because of practices. Yeah.
Yes. Now, though, especially when we think about the mass marketing and globalization of Western Christianity, I'm for people maintaining or managing or being in their practice.
Mm-hmm.
But some practices are used and designed to hold an individual hostage in a way for the entity. Until you come out of that, until you realize that or rationalize with that, you can be stuck in a way that doesn't allow you to even understand that you can rewire the brain, or the brain as being literally wired to do a certain thing, because spiritually we are held hostage, right? There's a person in this community that talked about being in a spirit in her spiritual practices in Christianity and Pentecostalism and everything else, that whenever she just discovered or start hearing someone talk about Black history, was even felt wrong or felt fear or scary. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, what is this? Because you taught that everything is wrong, especially what I don't understand or what I don't know. Like, it's wrong, it's wrong, it's wrong. And I know the elevation of who we are, and there's certain practices and things that have been around, especially with Zen. When I think about practices like Buddhism and Zen, it's not something that a person just, especially from where we come from in America, it's not, you don't get baptized in it. You don't have to go. They're not trying to recruit you. That it's like, wait, listen, folks, it's old. And there's, it's like a smorgasbord in terms of like, you can view this, you can look at it,
Mhm.
And what's really interesting, sir, and I'm not sure if you can relate to this or have comments on this, but Eastern Christianity, and I remember talking a lot to Bishop Carlton and how he would relate. There's some aspects of Jesus that he would always talk about, like Jesus studying and going into other parts of the of not where he was born, if you will, in the
Mhm.
East, and being able to, if you look at some of the teachings and how these teachings relate, especially from an Eastern perspective and Eastern Christianity perspective, how there's more of an Eastern practices, and there seems like there was some ties where there would be some things that could relate outside of what we've been taught, in Western Christianity. And as I've investigated and some of the things I've looked at, and I'm like, this makes it just makes more sense. It feels better. I mean,
Mhm.
when I think about the character or the person that they call Jesus, and the fact that, love and compassion
Yeah.
and all those beautiful, wonderful words that is seemingly that something that connects to your heart, and especially verses like the things that don't feel like they resonate with your soul or with your heart. And I think ultimately where I'm going with this is, now more than ever, we need practices like you're talking about so that we can learn to raise our vibration. And because I believe everything is energy, right? Energy cannot be created or destroyed. It just changes forms, and our thoughts are energy,
Mhm.
right? And
Yep.
if our thoughts are energy, there comes a time that you might need to shift those thoughts and that energy, especially when the energy is high and it's at a vibration that may not resonate with your soul and with your heart, with love, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think, and keep me honest here if I
Yeah.
stray off the path. Um, I think the way I would maybe approach this is from just the position of just the rise of suffering. Like, you
Okay.
know, I don't like the way it feels. Just to start, right? Um,
Mm,
the nature of suffering, but
mm,
but again, it's not for in Zen practice and in Buddhism writ large. It's not a when we examine ourselves and our emotions. It's the attitude is curious, not trying to change it, just noticing, and then beginning to explore its nature. And I think that's an important
mm.
distinction, because that is, for me anyway, sort of the lit path from conventional truth into toward ultimate truth. When I'm looking at something with curiosity, which, if you will, that's for me killing the ego, or what my Zen master said, only don't know. Don't make assumptions that you know, or be insistent that you know. In fact, go into every situation with a childlike mind. So that curiosity, it fuels compassion, because as I stay curious and I'm not trying to change it, I'm trying to understand the nature of it. I go from looking at it from a content standpoint to a context standpoint. And I can easily get back into that observing the mind in the mind. And I say easily, not because I'm well practiced, I'm just saying because in that space, from that space, it's easy. Um, And I stopped trying to deal with the why of the thing, and I deal a lot more with the what, because as I understand the nature of that experience, or that part of my experience, the emotion, and I understand the root of it, of what it is, then why it is sort of disappears. It's not about why, it's about it just is. And so what are we going to do about that? I can feel like crap because I wrecked my car, and I can sit and be like, well, I don't want to feel that way, but I do. So what's this future that I'm like spending my present moment thinking about, this future that I don't know anything about really, not actually experiencing the present moment. I could be spending time with that emotion, understanding it, not trying to change it, because it just is. It's not good or bad, it just is. Sure, I may not like it, but that's ego. Same reason I like blue more than I like green. It's just, I'm just choosing. I'm just.
But you sit with it, though. Like, just to sit with it means pausing, taking a moment, feeling it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of exploring. A lot of times, though, what happens is it's like you feel it, you go through it, and you don't sit with it. You begin to either take action or allow your body or whatever else to not just explore, but to do. Right. So I'm a post. I'm a do this. I'm a cry. I'm a go. I mean, and it's like some things can be okay, but I think sometimes, a lot of times, we're so full of the emotion that we don't even want to sit with it. We'd rather do.
Yeah, you can be inconsolable, and still just notice that, and still observe the nature of that.
What does that do? I wonder if that is the. It seems like there's a separation from the ego and the self, and you're getting to feel it. You're getting to feel that. You're getting to dance with the shadow. Oof.
Well, yeah, because I mean, I'm a shadow of my ancestors, right? Like,
yeah,
I am a shadow, because there's nothing really permanent about me. There's nothing solid about me. There's nothing solid about my identity. You know, I'm a dad, I'm a son, I'm a, this, I'm a that. Like, all of these assignments, they stay, right? My name, Tae Sahn, that stays. That's a permanent thing. No, not really. Because full disclosure, my first Dharma name was Ji-san, but my Zen master changed it after I took my ordination vows. So I'm glad I didn't get like a tattoo or something. But nothing's permanent, even me, even my identity, because as I go in and explore, not why am I here and what is all this for, but what am I? If I was a Mr. Potato Head, you pop my arm off. That's not me, like set over there on the side. And you can take all the different parts of me away, and at some point we'll get up here to the head, and that consciousness is this thing that takes place in the mind. But what is that? You said it earlier, all thoughts, energy. In a literal sense, it's measurably so. That's not metaphysical. That's just known science. We measure brain activity because we're able to pick up on its electromagnetic activity. That doesn't mean we fully understand it or have it fully decoded, but we do have that understanding about it. We've observed that. And so, in a sense, somehow my consciousness exists in this exchange of neurons, and my consciousness is that action. That's why I said earlier, I am. Like, it's what am I? I don't know, but it'll change.
Do you change it?
No, changes the nature of it.
You change the nature of it. So we're gonna take off the Zen guy, and now we're gonna put on the quantum guy.
We're gonna nerd out.
We can nerd out because you said something about the observer. And have you talked much or played much with the conversation of quantum mechanics, quantum physics, quantum in the double helix, right? The observer. Are you familiar with any of that quantum speak?
Are you talking about the
Not double helix. I'm sorry. I
yeah, it's the like the cat experiment. It's about the yeah. So we're talking about the observer effect, where once the thing is observed, it's the conscious thought itself, the realization by a conscious mind that actually brings it to that collapses the wave function.
Yeah.
But that's been misproven scientifically. It's a misunderstanding of the theory.
Okay.
That comes off of like the Schrodinger's cat experiment, right?
Yeah.
The Schrodinger's cat experiment talks about a cat that's in, a quantum box, and it has to do with superposition. Is the cat alive? Is the cat dead? Through infinite, iterations, and you can't know until you open the box. But this is talking about essentially collapsing the wave function in a quantum state, where the state itself is a superposition, or if you like, a window of options of what it could be. And so when observed, it actually has a definable point, right? It's no longer a superposition, it's a defined position, and the wave function itself is collapsed. But that actually has to do with photons literally interfering with the quantum system.
Right. And we're leaning towards duality though, right?
Yeah.
Duality. And I know a lot of that can go way outside of the normalcy of conversation, but in simple form, the way I see it is all this stuff that can be going on in the world is going on. And I felt this in times of slavery, that what we know through, we'll get to that question, but what we know is what happened en masse. Like mass, this happened. These people were captured and they were put in ships, right? And then there was people that were got to America, and then we became slaves, and then we're here. The thing is there were some people that were able to actually escape that you don't know about. There were people that were able to actually live outside of the spaces, right, and create and do outside of things they didn't have to live in that reality. We just don't know about it, right? They were able to escape that particular reality. I mean, there's so many different interesting stories. Even the story of Frederick Douglass, I think, he had a root in his pocket, and what was able to happen to him, George Washington Carver, when he was stolen and taken all the way, taken away, and his master, if you will, got him back, and he was able to be an inventor. And so my thing is, like, even in this space right now today, there is a place that we can go as we do our spiritual practices. There is a place I believe we can go, and we can begin to co-create the universe. We can begin to actually do our best to, as I say, shift timelines. Like I'm not going to be fully sucked in to everything I see. I don't want to be fully sucked into everything and I'm supposed to believe what I see.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to raise my vibration. I'm going to move, and that's my Zen. I'm going to raise my vibration. I'm going to begin to actually do as you say, as I'm observing, I'm feeling. But at the same time, whenever they say economy, 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 how do I move myself out of that space of understanding like the economy and what I can do and what can be done? I mean, you can simply ask AI right now, and it would, I guarantee you, it would begin to give you some answers on how vast the world is and what we don't know and what we don't understand. We think we understand a lot, but one thing that I'm very open to is not playing by the rules when it comes to feeding the giants, feeding the system with the energy that it seems to derive from. And what I mean, I'm talking about right now, we're creating and imparting into a moment in space and time that has been saved to hard drives, if you will. Let's just keep it that simple. It's saved to hard drives, and it's surpassing time, just as though I go and watch Carlton Pearson videos and he has transitioned, but I could still watch him and bring him back. And people are bringing us back outside of this space and this time. We're done. And they're watching us outside of that. But I know that we can shift. We can shift something in our world.
Yeah.
Right? Using ancient practices such as Zen, right?
Absolutely. I mean, even little things like just learning how to not take things so personally. I like to paint a picture of sort of the way I look at my practice is that life is like a sea of suffering and blessings. It's all those things, but there's plenty of suffering out there, which seems to be a lot of people's focus because suffering stinks. Doesn't feel good. It's very dissatisfying. But in that sea of suffering and blessings and everything else, but there's just me and my ship, and I can't really. I don't get to decide which waves reach my ship, whether they're gentle and lap supportively against the hull, carrying me in the direction that I thought I wanted to go, or whether or not they threaten capsize. I don't really get to pick which waves my ship will encounter, but I can take care of my ship. I can see to it that it's seaworthy, and I can explore my ship, become so intimate with the nature of my ship that I'm just able to better operate it around whatever the waves that come. But there's an important thought about when a wave comes to hit, and maybe we even covered this when you and I were talking the other day, I can't remember, but when a wave comes and encounters my ship, or my ship encounters the wave, it's that wave didn't just spring up out of nowhere. Like if I get hit by a wave that I just don't like, whether it's a big wave and I wanted a small wave, or whether it's a small wave and I wanted a big wave, for me to say, oh, that's not the wave that I wanted, that wave had it out for me, would be kind of silly, because waves just are. The wave itself isn't even really separate from the ocean. It's just an expression of energy, and the ocean is the medium. But that energy came from tens of thousands of other waves and other energy and other vibrations that agitated the form of the water, and finally came to this one point where this one wave hits you, and we get all upset, like, oh, that's not fair to me. Like it was a personal thing, but no. If you're at sea, you're going to encounter waves that you like and that you don't like. If you're carrying, a drink, let's say your coffee, and you get bumped into, and your coffee spills, it didn't spill because someone bumped into you. It spilled because you're carrying coffee. If you're carrying water, then water would spill out. Point is, if you're going to be around people carrying a drink, and that's a part of your lifestyle, getting bumped is a part of the nature of that exercise. If you're going to be around people, that's just what happens. And so being able to look at it from that, ocean analogy to, the coffee, it's just easy to take that just little extra leap and just make that insight. It's not personal. Just little things like that come from these insights that, man, they're just so powerful and help you walk with, liberation.
Well, you kind of have an expectation that there might be some waves out there.
Yeah. Yeah. But examining the present moment, I often find that most of the waves are just in my mind.
Ooh.
There's a meditation where you literally look with your eyeballs around you and try to find this problem that's bothering you. Where in your presence is this problem that's bothering you? You can't find it. Then what's really keeping you from enjoying the present moment? You. And so that doesn't mean that our feelings don't have a nature of being invasive. I think they do. But the more you practice observing the nature of them from a context standpoint of the understanding the nature of our minds, rather than focusing so much on the content, again, we find the root, we understand it, we become intimate with it, compassion naturally arises, we're able to comfort ourselves, and then we're better enabled to show compassion for others because we see ourselves in others. Yeah. We can come back to that point from any discussion point you want to start, but we'll come back to that point.
So the last thing I would want to say is spiritual. Well, there's I want to look at this place, but spiritual growth. Like to me, this, I want to let everyone know, this is spiritual growth, right? Spiritual growth is having a conversation, being open, hearing something you may not have heard before.
Or agree with.
Questions. Say that again.
Or agree with.
Yes.
Doesn't have to be something they agree with. If I've said anything that you don't agree with as a listener, please, with my whole heart, and I mean this from a place of compassion, discard it. It's okay. It's okay. The Dalai Lama says that himself. I'm trying to follow his example. He'll start a Dhamma talk. If anything I say doesn't seem to agree with you, then discard it. It's okay. It's a spiritual path. Thich Nhat Hanh said, and I'm sorry I've interrupted you. Thich Nhat Hanh said, we should love each other in such a way that, love people in such a way that they feel free. And I think, spiritual traditions have an impact in that arena too. Do we feel free to practice our spiritual exploration?
I love that word.
Curiosity.
Yeah. I love that word. In expanded consciousness, and my objective is not to be a focused podcast or institute on spirituality, but spirituality, I think, is something that's tied to everything. You know, the physical is just us here and now, but mental and spiritual are kind of locked in, right, together. And so exploring, giving opportunity to connect to other expressions, experiences, even traditional expressions and experiences, but also expanding and looking to expand our awareness, which we also can say consciousness, and the consciousness outside of the awareness, which is the hard problem, as they say, of consciousness, is yes, we got the awareness side of it, but then also the consciousness itself, and not necessarily fully understanding all of it. But one thing we are able to do in this space is to know, because we've had spaces over the years to do this, but a lot of times these spaces are shut down because of dogma and because of, exploration. And this is nothing new. I mean, I got my dear friend Aristotle, and various philosophers that actually had to, cut out the exploration and the curiosity of just the being, and actually having the conversations of what we may not understand, and having someone like yourself come online and we actually explore it, right? From different perspective. Is it the place out on 21st that you?
It is. Yeah, it's out on 21st. I guess between Lynn Lane and 129th on 21st Street. It's Chua Tamba Buddhist temple.
Da-da?
Yeah, that's the tallest statue in the state of Oklahoma.
I wanted people to see this. This is really cool. And when we have a retreat, I want to have one next year. I need to get on it. I definitely want to get Tae Sahn involved. But this is where it's located. It's the tallest statue. It's really rude. The grounds are, I mean, especially given where we are and the expectations, where it's just like, what? Here in Tulsa, of course, in the Hindu temple is right across the way, which I think is really cool.
Chua Tamba is a Vietnamese community Buddhist temple. They practice Pure Land Zen, which is the same tradition that you learn from Thich Nhat Hanh. He's Pure Land Zen. And actually, Christopher asked a question earlier that I don't think we had a chance to.
Oh yeah,
is Zen different than Buddhism? Excuse me. And the answer is no. Oh, that's a great picture. Those are actually stacks of water bottles and oranges and fruit. It's a traditional offering to the Buddha. But so no, Zen is not different than Buddhism. So Buddhism has three main traditions, if you will. You have the Theravada, the Mahayana, and the Vajrayana. Theravada is like your Sri Lanka, Thailand, Myanmar. That's kind of where it comes from. Mahayana is China, Japan, Korea, Vietnam. And then Vajrayana is like your Tibetan. Like when you think of the Dalai Lama, it's Vajrayana. So I mentioned Mahayana. Zen Buddhism is just one sub-tradition within the Mahayana traditions. And, we like to say that the Dharma gates are countless. I vow to awake to them all. And so there's no infighting between
This happened over the
Buddhism
course of time, though, hasn't it?
yeah, over the 2,600 years. And
Yeah. Now,
you know,
isn't Hindu supposed? Isn't it like considered the oldest?
yeah, I mean, because you can go back, 6,000 years to the first signs of like the Vedic poets and things like that, and but there was an understanding then about who is God, what does our being here mean, what's our function, and the Vedic poems kind of speak a lot to that. Go back to Bhagavad Gita. I don't know if you've ever read that one, but it's a great Hindu story, but it's ancient. It's ancient as it gets. But no, Zen is not different than Buddhism. It is just one tradition within it, specifically Mahayana Buddhism.
I plan on bringing some of the expanding conscious community that are from Tulsa, which is on the Awaken Tulsa page. But someone asked if, I guess there's services in different places that actually had theirs available online. And I was sure if yours was.
Not right now. It's not. So before the pandemic, we used to have video recording, and that came in really handy through the pandemic. But there wasn't really a scalable, sustainable plan to keep that going and maintained. And so that came down. But interestingly, we're going to meet this Saturday, sort of the leadership of the English Sangha. We're going to meet and just kind of, talk about, growth and opportunity, because the Sangha is growing. We're getting bigger and bigger crowds of people coming to, share and Dharma talks with us. Sundays at 9 is where the party at.
Sunday at 9. I'm going to be there because my brother is going to be having a talk. So we're going to be there Sunday at 9. I know we have Sunday. We usually have this week would be my talk. We would have our book. But I'm going to move Sunday to 6:30. If you're listening, we're going to do Sunday 6:30 for the Patreon community. And because anyone that's here, I'll make sure I get it posted. We're going to go out and listen and have an experience. Thank you, Miss Deidre. We're going to do Spiritual Warrior, and that is going to be 6:30 this Sunday. And then at 9, if you're in Tulsa, of course, I won't be there at 9. I'll be there before 9.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're running on divine time. That means that, you should be on time.
Yeah,
do not tip in the door all late.
Yeah, and honestly, if you do, please come in on like real talk and just grab a mat. There should be some mats for you to sit on. You can sit on the bench. We have the temple inside has benches like pews on the sides. If sitting on a meditation cushion isn't something that your body is currently letting you do, and it's saying, let's go sit on the bench, please come sit on the bench. Sometimes I sit on the bench just to sit next to people that I don't normally get to sit next to when we're on cushions. So come as you are. It's a great experience, and it's not all Zen teaching in the Sangha, by the way. My tradition is Korean Zen, but not everyone who teaches is a Korean Zen, has a Korean Zen background. There's different backgrounds, including Vajrayana, Tibetan Buddhism, Soto Zen, which comes from Japan. There's different perspectives. Beautiful that way.
Either one. Do you have Thich Nhat Hanh right there, or do you have something in your heart that you can leave us with? A short meditation. You can just come from the heart.
when I look deeply at the present moment, and I focus on just noticing my breath, my body, maybe the feeling of the air wafting over my skin from the ceiling fan that's on, the pressure of my feet against the floor, my thoughts rising and falling. That when I really observe the present moment, I notice that the conditions for happiness are here. When I take a breath, if the air is sweet and your nose is clear, smile. It's a blessing. And the entire universe is contained within that breath. Because the present moment is the only thing that we're able to truly, actually care for. We plan for the future, but we even do that in the present. So just be. Don't try to judge or change the way you feel. Feel your feelings. And just know that the only moment you have to really take care of, truly, ever, is just this one. And everything else that happens after that came from what you did in this present moment. So take that time in the present moment to fill your cup with joy and happiness, so that when life bumps into you, that's what spills out of your cup.
Thank you. Let that rest with you. If you're listening and you are connected to me, the private community, there's a free version, or you can also be a part of the private community. I'm working with the various offers that I do have on there, but everything that you do is greatly appreciated, and it's allowing me to grow, allowing us to grow. I enjoy what I do, but that's patreon.com, expanded consciousness community. And you guys are signing up, and make sure that you are signed up. And of course, there's the Cash App for all that want to use Cash App. You guys do. I appreciate it. I love you 100%. You are pretty great at that. I appreciate it so much. And it's very encouraging, to be honest. And thank you, Miss Dolores. Tae Sahn, I appreciate it. And
Much love, brother.
we're definitely going to do more with Tae Sahn. We'll probably have him, we'll figure out a course or something that we can do related to this, maybe some meditation. I don't know. It's all up there, man. I got a lot going on, lots planned. But this song here is something that I wrote, and I really want us to take it in for this moment in this time. Just listen to these words.
Let this be a melody, softly singing to you and me. Pure love floating on the breeze, a gentle song to set us free. Imagine Imagine if we loved one another, smiling like the sun and the summer. Nothing else would matter, you'll see. Love would be our melody. It's hard to find the perfect word, but love is something always heard. Deep inside we feel the sound, a light that lifts us off the ground. Imagine if we loved one another, smiling like the sun and the summer. Nothing else would matter, you'll see. Love would be our melody. What kind of world could we begin if kindness grew from deep within? Forget the hate, forgive the sin, and learn to love again and again, again and again. Imagine if we loved one another, smiling like the sun.
I wish you could too, Mr. Boris.
She's
Nothing else would
lovely.
matter, you'll see. Love would be
Shout
our
me out.
melody. Our melody. Love would be our melody. Our melody.
Let love be our melody, y'all. Let love be our melody. I don't know if anyone has given on the Cash App this evening, but Tae Sahn's a brother that I'm going to forward the Cash App this evening to him. He's not going to accept it. I don't care, because I want to do it, and he's forced to accept it. So I know you do you operate in Cash App? Do you know what that is? Yes.
Me? Yeah.
What's your Cash App? All right, thank you. Deidre's given. Anybody that give Cash App this evening is going to Tae Sahn. Thank you. Any Cash App this evening is going to Tae Sahn. Yep.
That's
Deidre just gave that, and I got mine here. Matter of fact, we'll just put your Cash App up there, and Deidre already gave that. And his Cash App is going to be, I know I got it, Deidre. It's going to be $, Mike.
I'm actually, yeah. So it's actually Mikala, Mikala 918.
MIKALA
ALA 918.
918.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a Hawaiian name.
Is that it right there?
Cultural upbringing. Yeah, that's it. And,
All right.
I've got a garage sale coming up that I'm doing for the temple, and I'll make sure and use all those proceeds to make sure that we're blessing the community. So thank you so much.
That's fine. And I want you can bless yourself with a lunch.
Right on.
You could bless yourself with a lunch. That's up there, y'all. Deidre has given. We got some others given in that. So you could go ahead and forward it to that. I'm doing it right now. I want to, let's see, make sure I'm doing it right. MIKALA 918.
Yeah, that's me. That's an old picture too. I'm looking at that.
All right. We're going to label this as, it is a ECC. That stands for Expanded Consciousness Community.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
No, that's what we do.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Hopefully, I get a couple of more people. I just like to do that because it feels good. Yes, there we go. That went over there. Good. I appreciate you, brother. And this is what we do.
It's beautiful. Thank you for your time and space, man.
Oh, you'll be back. We'll do it more. You got to be involved now.
Yeah.
Got to be involved. All right, y'all. Sunday at 6:30. I'll go ahead and we're going to do the Zoom. That'll be in Patreon. 9:00 Sunday. We're going to be meeting. I'll make sure it's posted on the Patreon and make sure it's posted on the Facebook page for Awaken Tulsa. But I love y'all, and we'll close this out. Tae Sahn, you can hang on for 1 second after I close this out. All right, y'all. Love y'all.
Miracles come knocking like a quiet melody. You got to let them in to set your spirit free. The universe is humming a tune you can't ignore. So open up your heart, there's always something more. Oh, miracles, oh, magic, they dance up in the sky. Believe them with your soul and watch the reasons why. Manifest your wonder, let the journey start. Miracles like rivers, they flow into your heart. They say the world is wild, an untamed mystery. But if you close your eyes, belief is the key. Glimmering in darkness like whispers in